Today is a good day, and especially MOG coin is appreciating the most. Now the question is why? Who is buying here? Who's selling here? Is this a pump and dump orchestrated by the whales? Is this short-term leverage done on the derivatives market? Is this adoption through retail? Let's have a look at the data most people are not considering. Now today we are up 39%. This month we are up 160%, but especially meme coins have their ups and downs. We are still far away from the all-time high. Now today pretty much everything on Ethereum is up. And MOG coin is the second largest trending token on the chain. It's got a liquidity of almost 12 million. Now this channel discusses MOG coin regularly. This is now video number 9. And it looks like the interest in the token is somewhat constant. Most MOG coin videos do slightly outperform over time. So here's the very first video on MOG coin. The average video is in gray, and that video that was first published on MOG is the line here in blue. Here's the recent video, again a slight outperformer. There are different versions of the token. There is one on the base chain with more than 200,000 holders. There's another version on Ethereum with 53,000 holders. And there's also now a version on Solana, but that one has only 3,000 holders. Now it appears as if the base chain related token is the most important one because it has most holders. But that's actually not true. The base chain has a lot of wallets holding the token, but most of the capital is still on Ethereum. And we can see this with charts like this. This is now the base chain, and it shows the number of retail investors on the left, the number of medium-sized investors in the middle, and the number of whales on the right. So to be counted for a wallet on the left side, that wallet has to hold at least 1 billion MOG tokens. Now at the current price, that's worth roughly $1,000 worth of the token. To be counted for a chart in the middle, it's $10,000. To be counted for the chart on the right, it's $100,000. So there are a bit under 30 wallets that have $100,000 worth of the token on base. Now have a look at the number of wallets on Ethereum. It's more than 10 times that. It's true for the number of whale wallets. It's also true for the number of retail wallets. So the people that make up the vast majority of the holders on the base chain, they only have very small amounts of MOG. Really, it's the Ethereum chain where price discovery happens. But then isn't the price development interesting? Because we don't see a lot of accumulation across the board, both for retail but also for the whale. It seems like since December of last year, retail tends to sell. The whales seems to have started selling already 2 months before that, since beginning of October. The price peak was at the beginning of December of 2024, and it seems like the recent rally, the one that we are seeing in the last few weeks, it's not necessarily driven by accumulation by the whales. Yes, the number of retail investors is going up slightly, but it's in no relation to how much the price is increasing. So what's going on? I think a lot of leverage has entered MOG token. There was a lot of short interest in the token, as in many people were betting on falling prices. And then the market makers, the whales, seem to have seen that short interest, and they might have bought up the token in order to force liquidate the short. Have a look at this. This is the spot trading volume. It's led by Gate.io, and we have 16 million worth of trading volume on that centralized exchange. Now compare this with the perpetual futures. That's led by Binance, and here we've got 119 million worth of trading volume. So there's much more trading happening on the bets on the price compared to what happens on the spot market. And that then leads us to this chart. So in green we see the open interest, so how many bets are done on MOG. And in yellow, we see the spot price. And we can clearly see the correlation between the two, right? As there are more bets on the price itself, the spot price tends to go up. When there is less and less bets on the price, so less open interest, the price also tends to deflate. Now, what's the interest rate on the price? Interestingly enough, it became very negative starting in March of this year. And the more negative the funding rate got, the closer we got to the bottom of the price. Now, what does negative funding rate mean? It means that the shorts are paying the longs in order to bet on falling prices. So it's expensive to bet on falling prices. If there are a lot of people betting on falling prices, it means it becomes attractive to buy up the token on the spot market because we can get direct exposure and very positive return by betting on those rising prices to take the counterparty of the short. Now currently the funding rate tends to balance out again. And because of that, I'm not so certain how much longer this rally in MOG will last. The whales are not accumulating, it's less profitable to hold the long side of the trade, and the open interest might just come back down again. This is the MOG price relative to Ethereum. Now why do we look at that? Because MOG is traded versus wrapped Ethereum. When Ethereum goes up by 10%, then automatically, without a single trade having taken place, MOG will also go up by 10%. So the two assets are directly linked with one another. And so it's no surprise that the bottoms align somewhat. And I think it's likely we're going to stay in a somewhat constant trading range. It's probably too early to bet on falling prices. And yes, there might be some more upside potential, maybe 75% or so. I'm currently not betting on either direction because we are pretty much in the middle of that trading range. If we go higher, a short might make sense. If we go lower, we can consider entering again. It seems like this rally is caused by short-term leverage, and that leverage might move to another token. It's probably best to stay on the sidelines and to rather bet on a token where we are at the extreme end of the trading range. For example, Dogecoin might get there very soon. The rallies happen very quickly, again, likely due to short squeezes and sometimes of course paired with news. But over time, Dogecoin tends to bleed versus the rest of the market. And then when the price decline stops, we get ready for another squeeze. Instead of trying to chase the pump, instead of trying to buy the thing that currently gets levered up a lot, it's probably better to wait until the leverage deflates, or it's better to buy the thing very few people look at. So it's a game of buying the thing with very little attention and then sell once all the attention moves towards the token. Now, it appears as if everything is going up in this market, but it's not as easy. It's still in the end a player versus player game, and a lot of people got wrecked before this rally. The top performing crypto categories right now are Politify, but also picking up now Solana memes and AI agents, all the kind of tokens that did very well just a few months ago. Now, especially with the smaller altcoins, it's not a fair game. It's player versus player, but it's also insiders versus the public. The public doesn't know as much as the insiders, and so on average, the average retail investor does lose money. It's really a rather mixed picture. Have a look at this. This is Solana's trending tokens. There's some green, there's some red, but in the end, even during the meme coin hype in the last few months, Bitcoin dominance continued to go up. So clearly, it's not enough to just buy a representative basket of altcoins and hope for those to outperform Bitcoin. If we speculate with altcoins, we have to be somewhat active. Otherwise, we just go with BTC. BTC tends to do better than most altcoins most of the time. Now, very often the market makers and the insiders, they get away with this, right? For example, the OHM token crashed by more than 90%, a drop of 4.5 billion. Up to this day, we still don't know who profited from this crash. The money is not gone, it's just held by somebody else. Now, what can we do in a situation like this? I think the best approach is to try to be as close as possible to the insiders. And that's the nice thing about the blockchain, right? We can see the official transactions. And if we do a bit of digging, we can find out the wallets of people that move prices. For example, over here, we've got transactions of Kyle Chessy and of other influencers that bought SPX 6900 very, very early. When we found the wallet of an insider, we can get notifications whenever those people buy and sell something. And because of that, I made a video on SPX 6900 in the early days. And that video was not that popular because most people didn't know about the token at the time. But it came out when the price was still at 10 cents. It then made this parabolic run of 1,300% and of course crashed back down with the rest of the market. But I try to be early on this channel. I try to cover tokens that are bought by the insiders that still have upside potential. So feel free to subscribe over here. Now here's another example, Fartcoin. We got purchase notifications at 4 to 5 cents and subsequently there was a 4000% run, then of course our correction, but still from that signal the price is up almost 2000%. It's all a player versus player game. The insiders make most money. And the way we get all of those signals is again by finding the wallets of people that influence the prices. So again, with the example of Kyle Chessy, we've got 12 of his wallets. In total, we track more than 419 wallets. We find the wallets through various approaches, the NFTs that they hold, the current holdings that they might make public, related transaction wallets, all kinds of different approaches. There are dedicated tutorial videos on how to find influencer wallets available as well. What you're seeing over here is the paid Telegram channel. So we've got a dedicated chat just on finding new influencer wallets where we then add them to our tracking channel. So that tracking channel is also available, of course, to the premium members. And so the closer we are to the people that move prices, the more we can mimic their performances. So over here, what we see is various trades that have been made by the community. Of course, I'm not sharing the exact tokens that have been traded, but yeah, those are some examples of what is achievable with the right information. So feel free to check it out. It's currently $125 per month. The link is down below. It's thebitcoinstrader.com. You will also see a link to the premium membership now directly popping up on this video. Again, if it's your first time here, feel free to subscribe. A like would be very much appreciated as well. It helps the channel grow. See you next time on YouTube or see you in premium. Cheers.